Hey, Seth from Relevant Sessions here, and today I'm talking about image content creation. So in my other videos for this series, I've been talking about the value of video and how it should be something that you really invest time into, and that social media loves it, and that it's really useful content. However, this video is about highlighting that images are still incredibly valuable and useful content. So images still perform best on things like Instagram, and if you are posting a post to Twitter or to Facebook, if you attach an image to that post, it'll do much better than if it was just text alone. So most of the different social media platforms have built-in editing features for photos. So you have an array of filters, you also have basic editing things for cropping and for adjusting exposure, etc. These are all really powerful and super useful, particularly in Instagram, but there's also a myriad of different apps and software available for editing photos and getting the best out of your content. So two of the main ones for these are Adobe Photoshop, which is like the most powerful out of all of them. The sister app to that is Adobe Lightroom, which is a much more streamlined version, which is specifically geared to photo editing. Photoshop, you can do a lot of manipulation stuff, like cut people out of photos and add trees in where they weren't there, but that's more photo editing in terms of what's actually comprising the image. Whereas if you want to change how the image looks, Lightroom's a really good option. There's loads of preset packs available from various different places that you can download. So if you find someone on Instagram that you really like, the look of their photos, etc., they probably have preset packs for Lightroom, etc., that you can download and buy and use on your own photos as well. Now, when you're using a preset, it's a really simple thing to upload it, and then you just hit go and it'll edit the image. And you might want to change a few details within that, because quite often it's not perfect, but it's a really quick fire way of getting a specific look or feel that you're after, and it can make your images look super pro really quickly. Other apps you can use for this, which are particularly good, are VSCO Cam, which is specifically filters for photos, and that's really good. It's got lots of film emulation stuff on there, so if you want it to look like old vintage photographs, or if you want it to look like it's been taken using a Polaroid camera or whatever, there's all these different features that you can use within this app that give specific grains and feels, and they're incredibly realistic. It's worth checking out. You get a free amount of presets that come with the app for free, but you can subscribe to it. I think it's about £17-18 a year as a yearly payment, and that opens up a vast array of different options in terms of your photo editing, and it's really, really powerful. If you want to get a bit more creative and do a sort of graphic design layout style thing, then using Photoshop again is very powerful for doing graphic layups. Again, it might take a bit of training. There's loads and loads of tutorials on YouTube on how to use it, but it's particularly in depth. For a much simpler version, you can use Adobe Spark, which is fantastic for creating specifically social media based posts, which are images and text. That comes with different layouts and things that's really easy to use. Highly recommend. Another really good option is Canva, which is free and online editor. So you upload a photo online, and then you can change and edit the photo. You can add text, you can add borders, etc. And that's a really, really powerful way of doing stuff for free anywhere. It's brilliant. Check out Canva. I highly, highly rate it. If you're doing graphic stuff, I'd dissuade from getting really graphic heavy on your feed, particularly on things like Instagram or Facebook. Graphics have a place and they look brilliant when you do it. I know that I use graphics a lot, so there's kind of contradictory to what I'm saying, but generally you'll have more success and more engagement if you're more personable on your posts. So graphics can be received in quite a clinical way. It's really cool to put up your new album picture, but it's even cooler to put up a picture of you holding your new album. It makes it more personable, it makes it more connectable, and people are much more likely engage in conversation with you about your posts if you're posting something which is personable to you. Tool posters are useful for getting information out, and again, it makes it more recognizable if you see the tool poster in the actual venue. It's a very good way of listing lots of dates. But on a social media platform, they tend not to look very good. For design to be A4 or bigger, which makes them readable, whereas if you transfer that onto a small screen, it becomes incredibly difficult to look at. So it's better to create posts that are social media specific in a format that works for them. So 4x5 is a good one, or square. both of those formats will allow the most screen coverage. Try and fill the space in a way that makes it easy and clear to read. So using really small lines of text might look great on an A3 tour poster, but on your phone it's not going to be readable. So having something clear enough that you can decipher it from your devices is really important. Finding out what the different ratios for all the different places you might put this information on these images as well is really important. So specifically tailoring the design to a Facebook header or to a YouTube header and doing different variations on this for all these different platforms is a really great way of coming up with content that you know is going to look good on each specific one, because they don't fit across all of them. But again, for more sociable platforms like Instagram or Facebook, having a photo of you doing what you do musically and then having the tour dates beneath is a better way of doing it than trying to cram a tour poster in. You can include the tour poster alongside images of what you're doing, but as a way of getting people's attention, they're more likely to engage with something which is a picture of you. As I've mentioned in some of my other videos, using Scottish scenery is a really, really good way of engaging people on an international level. So people from the States, Australia, wherever they are, they want to know about Scotland and where you come from and what you do, and they'll make assumptions about how your music fits in with the landscape. And if you can use these to your advantage, then it's a really powerful tool. So taking pictures of you out in the Scottish countryside, if you need to do a post about something, then it's a really good image to attach to it and it'll get good engagement. Finally, please clean your lens. I've said this on most of my other videos, but it's my top tip out of all the things that I could possibly say to you doing anything form of content creating wise, whether it be videos or images. Clean your lens and make sure that it's properly clean, not just by blowing on it and using your thumb, because that doesn't work. Make sure it's really clean and that you're capturing the best thing that you can. It'll just boost that level up so much higher, and when you come to editing all of your nice pretty images, if they're not smudged beforehand, then that's a real bonus. So to summarize, images are still really important. If you're using images, try and make them of yourself. Take photos all of the time whenever you're out on the road, or if you're writing new material, or if you're in a studio or whatever. Make sure you catalog it and you've got it. They're really useful to use on your socials. Include scenery when you can, because it gives a sense of place and a sense of authenticity to what you're doing. It's really useful for international audiences to identify with who you are and what you're creating. If you're going to use graphics, make sure that they are applicable to the social media format that you're using. So 4x5 sized dimensions or a square dimensions are best. And make sure that any information included in them, if you're using a tour poster or an album cover or whatever, that you can actually read what it says, because more often than not you can't. So doing social specific variations of tour posters, etc. is a really, really good thing to do. Or even better, have a picture of yourself with the tour poster or with an album or whatever, or a picture of yourself playing live with the tour dates underneath, and that'll get just as good engagement, if not better. And yeah, I hope you create some beautiful image-based content.